Hello, welcome to UXR Kelly. Today I will show you the portfolio presentation that landed me my first full-time job as a user experience researcher. To briefly give you some info on my background, I do not have a master's in human-computer interaction, human factors, nor do I come from a technical background. So when you interview for a user experience researcher position, you will be asked to present a case study from your portfolio. This is a very, very crucial piece to the interview that you cannot afford to mess up. I used Google Slides to create my presentation, and then I used Figma to create all the graphics on the slides, and then I wrote a script to go along with each slide of my presentation. Google Slides has this feature called Presenter View, and it basically allows you to read your notes while you're presenting, but everyone else listening to your presentation cannot read your notes. So this really helped me because I get extremely nervous before interviews. Just gave me the confidence that I needed to really perform and sound professional. So without further ado, I will present my portfolio presentation.
Hello, my name is Kelly Frost, and this is a presentation of a case study in my portfolio. So an overview, I designed a new mobile app called Innervision to help younger people manage stress. My role, I was the UX researcher and designer. The company, I completed this project as a portfolio piece during my 6-month bootcamp with Design Lab. And the timeline, I had 2 weeks to design the app from initial research to final designs. And the design tool that I used was Figma. So I wanted to design a product that was timely and relevant. So I asked myself, what problems are people facing today? And after speaking with friends, family, and coworkers, I noticed a trend of feeling chronically stressed. So I thought about how might we solve the problem? And this is the design process I followed to find a solution. So in the empathize stage, I wanted to understand the topic of stress better and gain quantitative data on how people were generally feeling. And I found that 69% of Gen Zers are unsatisfied with their work. 94% of millennials are willing to spend $300 a month on self-help. And 50% of millennials felt overwhelming anxiety over the past year. So I recruited 4 friends who felt stressed in the past 30 days. I wanted to look at Gen Z and millennials as a whole. And so I recruited participants ranging from ages 20 to 35 and in different life stages, from a college student to a product manager. So gathering qualitative data, I probed users with the why questions. Why do you feel stressed? How did you relieve stress? Why do you relieve stress in that way? And I found all 4 find writing to help relieve stress. 3 out of the 4 have trouble concentrating due to the endless options presented to them. And half the participants reported lacking the social support they desire due to isolation from the pandemic. And so to represent the research and manage project time constraints, I narrowed it down to one persona. Kira is a 27-year-old sales professional living in Santa Monica, California. She spends a lot of time online, and her favorite brands are Apple and Sweetgreen. Kira feels stressed about her future and wants to find direction and support to become more self-aware. So I further explored the seed of writing to relieve stress and compared the 4 most popular journals to see what worked and what could be improved. So Day One and Notes have a significant market share, but the blank page format wouldn't help my users write or motivate them to continue writing. Penzu had a similar format to Day One and Notes, but a desktop limitation. And Happiness Journal had guided writing, but it felt too generic and not catered enough to specific needs. And so I mapped out Kira's current journaling experience across all touch points. The journey begins with Kira feeling so excited to find a way to manage her stress. And after researching popular journals, she decided to purchase a journaling app. She opens the app and writes her first entry, but after about a week, she doesn't feel the urge to continue writing. And shortly after, she stops writing altogether. Now Kira believes she can't stick with anything. And she begins to feel even more stressed and writes a 1-star review in the iOS App Store. So by putting myself in Kira's shoes, I came up with a few opportunities to help prevent her negative experiences. So I thought about what I wanted Kira to feel when using my journaling app. I wanted her to continue feeling excited about writing because of the value it's providing her. And then, of course, tell all of her friends to download the app. So moving on to the define stage, I created how might we questions to stay focused on building solutions to the most significant user pain points. And then using those pain points, I brainstormed feature ideas to help solve the problem. Write daily, text and email entries directly to the app to help users be a consistent writer. Count down to reflection data so the user is encouraged to continue writing. Levels achieved based on user efforts at improving upon their reflection data. Find focus, prompts to help guide the user's writing, customizable journals and lists to organize the user's thoughts, and reflection data to help the user become more self-aware. And support, group activities to create a community, a social newsfeed to encourage users to achieve their goals, and meetups to meet people that are trying to achieve the same goals. So my work thus far has been user-focused, but it's also important not to lose sight of the business objectives. So I wanted to make sure the user goals aligned with the business goals, such as keeping users engaged and creating an experience differentiated from its competitors. So after doing all of this research, I took a step back to reevaluate the product vision. And I noticed it had changed from a journaling app to help users write to a self-discovery tool to relieve stress through writing and reflection. So for the sake of time, I prioritized features that would help the user learn more about themselves and continue writing. So moving to the ideate stage, before designing, I wanted to visualize the app's architecture. The top white ovals are the navigation tabs, and the blue ovals are the features. In addition to the sitemap, I created user flows and task flows that you can see on my portfolio website. Those flows helped me minimize steps for the user. Visual design is very important, especially in consumer products. So I featured journaling apps that offered an easy-to-use interface, gamification, and a calming demeanor. Then I drew some sketches and created wireframes to test a clickable prototype. Moving on to the build stage, the reasoning behind my color choices, purple represents calmness, blue inspires intuition, and pink symbolizes support. So finally, the test stage. So I recruited 4 friends who had recently felt stressed to complete tasks within the prototype. And I observed their interactions to evaluate the usability of the app. My 3 remote tests provided great insights, but I also found value in my in-person testing because I could record non-verbal cues like agitation and confusion. But as you can see from a few of the task error rates, there were certainly things to improve upon. So then I sorted 100 pieces of verbal feedback and made 3 significant design changes, creating a better onboarding experience, removing journals, and adding list descriptions. So I initially thought the design was simple enough that creating an onboarding would be unnecessary for the user. But instead, the users were very frustrated from the start because they did not understand how to use the app. So I created a better onboarding experience explaining the significant features to provide users with support from the start. And the users found writing in a bulleted list format less stressful than in an open-ended journal format. So I thought, let's give users the benefits of long-form writing in a list. So for example, you add the purpose list. You read the description to understand the value the list will provide and what types of questions are asked. You add the list, and next you will receive a guided prompt, but in a bulleted list format, which is perfect for people who are chronically stressed and low in time. Other list prompts could be best friends I need to visit, why I feel alone, reasons I'm great at my job. And this kind of writing helps the user gain perspective on their life and identify what is making them feel so uncertain. So as I learned so much from this project, it's hard to sum it up, but here are 2 quick takeaways. More attitudinal research to learn what people say. My final product could have benefited with diary studies to understand the user's environments and feelings, surveys to back up the selection of features with quantitative data, and card sorting to provide more research behind the list topics. And reevaluate research for new product vision. If I had more time, I would have conducted new user interviews to explore the self-discovery space further and create another competitive analysis focusing more on self-discovery tools.
A final thought, you got this, believe in yourself, say your affirmations, fake it till you make it. This is a possible career transition if you put the work in.